Hey everyone, my name is Edrem, and I just wanted to do a quick video talking a little bit about the Square Enix news with the privacy tracker plugins that's been going on, right? As we've got this post now by Naoki Yoshida talking about how they're going to request that the plugin is deleted and potentially pursuing legal action. And I've seen some not exactly misinformation, but there's more to be said here, right? Because I think many people say that, like, okay, they've put stuff into the game. We've got this account ID now. If they didn't have this in, people couldn't track the way that they're currently doing. And that's not true. And this is why this is a harder problem to solve than some people think. Or pretty much everyone thinks. But for context around this, with Dawntrail, they improved the Blacklist function so that it would remove players from the game from your site, and it would also remove their alts, right? So they can't just create a new character, come back in, and then start harassing the player again. Great. But that's actually the bad part, right? Because that's the part that is now being used to track alts. And the people are saying, like, oh, it's because we've got this account ID. It should be done on the server. Right? There shouldn't be like information that's handed to the game as you're playing. Doesn't actually matter. Doesn't matter if the client doesn't ever know about this. There's still ways to do this, and it's not actually that hard. Right? But I just want to go over to this other little post here, right? Because this is people talking about the list beforehand, the extension. And how we have third-party tools are used. Person's able to track retainers, alts, past character looks, past character locations, and more. Now, the one thing I do absolutely agree here is that retainers should not be in there, right? When you go to the market board and you look up sales, there should be no account information attached to that. There should be no, like, hey, this retainer belongs to this person. The player never sees it, shouldn't be in there. I don't even think the blacklist would affect that, right? If you blacklist someone, that doesn't mean you also want to remove their retainer from the market board. So it's not necessary there. I do absolutely agree that that should be gone. But the other stuff is a little bit harder to do, right? And I want to explain how, without using a person's account ID, you can still find out what their alts are. Right, so I'm going to go over here. So let's imagine we got two people, right? We got a harasser, and we got the victim. Now, with the current system, the victim can go, right, block them, right? They should no longer see me in the game. Well, no, it doesn't actually work like that. The victim will never see the harasser. The harasser will still see the victim. There's also been stuff about, like, hey, we want that to be both ways. Shouldn't actually be both ways, because that makes it even easier to track people. But I'll get into that. But essentially, the harasser shouldn't know that they're blacklisted. Right? They shouldn't know that they've been blocked. It's like a shadow ban, because as soon as they know that they've been blocked, that's when, in the past, people would immediately start making alts to continue the harassment. But here's the thing. They don't need to make an alt. They can make an entire extra account. Right? And now this is the observer. And you might say, like, okay, making a whole new servers account, like a whole different servers account, that might be a little bit much, but we are talking about stalking and harassment online, right? So people can go to these links, especially when people are already making plugins for this. It's like, yeah, if they're making plugins or they're installing plugins, they could go this far. Now, here's the way it's going to work. Currently, the victim will be visible to both the harasser account and the observer account. That's good, because we don't want them to be able to find out we're on alts, right? If the victim was currently on an alt, and it only appeared to the observer, but it didn't appear to the harasser who's been blocked, then the person could immediately figure that out. They could be like, why is this character visible on this screen but not visible on this screen? And figure that out. Or more likely, plugin can do that for them. It could automatically be like, hey, both these characters in the same location. One character can see this character, this low level ERP alt character over here. The other account can't. Yeah, that's probably the person that's blacklisted you. And that didn't require account ID. That's not the way the game currently works, right? Both people can see the victims. So what if we do a system where the harasser, once they get figured out, once they realize that they get blocked and blacklisted, they also blacklist the victim, right? Which means that they also blacklist all of the victim's alts. And now we can do the same thing, right? We have the victim logs into their alt account. Oh. Turns out that this harasser cannot see the alt. This observer can see the alt. Now the person knows, hey, this alt is someone on my blacklist, right? And we've done all of this without requiring an account ID. And to be fair, this is kind of how the plugin currently works, because it's all crowdsourced. Everyone that's using the plugin is an observer. So it's hard to stop this. You can't just remove the account ID and prevent this from happening. Because again, this system here doesn't need an account ID. Doesn't need it at all. So when people are talking about like, oh, it's Square Enix the problem, they put this number in, it's like, shouldn't be in. There's ways that the server can not reveal that information, but also it's not really critical, right? It's given someone this idea, but it's not actually what they need absolutely to do this. Like if Square Enix removed the ID, people could still do this. It's a hard problem to solve, right? Because any tool you give to the victim in order to block multiple people can be used by the harasser to figure out who those people are. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, this is harder than people expect. You can't just easily solve it. Square Enix are probably going through and being like, okay, how do we do this other than just, you know, cease and desist. But yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of what I wanted to say. I just wanted to get this off my mind of this is cybersecurity in these things are just kind of hard, right? They're just kind of hard. But yeah. All right. There you go. That's the end of my rant.